question is for Gunilla van Hall from Swedish media. Gunilla, can you hear us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you. My question is on Sweden. It's a country that chosen a different road and strategy, basically no lockdown and an open society through the crisis. Could this mean that the population of Sweden, maybe other countries that have not had strict lockdowns, have a chance to be better protected in case of a second wave, as they have been more exposed and have had a chance to develop a possible herd immunity? Thank you.
Thank you. I think two things here. I think there's a perception out there that Sweden has not put in place control measures and has just allowed the disease to spread. Nothing could be further from the truth. Sweden has put in place a very strong public health policy around physical distancing, around caring and protecting for people in long-term facilities and many other things. What it has done differently is it has very much relied on its relationship with its citizenry and the ability and willingness of citizens to implement physical distancing and to self-regulate, if you want to use that word. And in that sense, they've implemented public policy through that partnership with the population. They've been doing the testing, they've ramped up their capacity to do intensive care quite significantly, and their health system has always remained within its capacity to respond to the number of cases that they've been experiencing. Like many other countries in Europe, Sweden has experienced some many clusters of disease and long-term care facilities, but that's unfortunately and tragically not a unique event in Europe. Many countries across Europe have experienced the same tragedies over the last number of months, and that's something that really needs to be looked at very carefully all over Europe. Even as the numbers go down, our elderly, our older citizens are still dying in large numbers in many nursing homes and long-term care facilities, and more needs to be done to protect and stop the cluster, those clusters and prevent disease spread in those settings. With regard to this concept of herd immunity, I think we'll wait. I believe seroprevalence studies are underway in Sweden as well as many other countries, and Maria can speak to that because WHO, with our partners, have done a large review of all of the seroepidemiologic studies that are underway and some of the results that are available. But I would say that the general outcome, even in areas of fairly intense transmission, the proportion of people who have seroconverted or who have antibodies in their blood is actually quite low, which is a concern because it does mean the vast majority of people remain susceptible. So the chances of disease rebounding or returning is quite high, especially if control measures if control measures or lockdown type measures are released too quickly without being replaced by case finding, contact tracing, testing and strong community compliance. I think if we are to reach a new normal, I think in many ways Sweden represents a future model of, if we wish to get back to a society in which we don't have lockdowns, then society may need to adapt for a medium or potentially a longer period of time in which our physical and social relationships with each other will have to be modulated by the presence of the virus. We will have to be aware the virus is present, and we will have to, as individuals and families and communities, do everything possible on a day-to-day basis to reduce the transmission of that virus. And that may mean adjusting the way we live our lives. And I think maybe in Sweden, they're looking at how that is done in real time. So I think there may be lessons to be learned from our colleagues in Sweden. But again, I wanted just to emphasize, Sweden has not avoided controlling COVID-19. It's taken a very strong strategic approach to controlling COVID-19 across all of the elements of society. What it has done differently is it really has trusted its own communities to implement that physical distancing. And that is something that remains to be seen whether that will be fully successful or not.
It could be a coincidence, but I actually received a letter from His Excellency the Prime Minister Stefan Löfven, today, and he shared with me the strong measures they're taking. And tack så mycket, Your Excellency.
To supplement what Mike said around the herd immunity, right now we're tracking over 90 seroepidemiologic studies that are in various stages of development, whether the countries are just starting the process to implement or whether they're implementing them now. There are some papers, pre-publication papers that have come out that have suggested low seroprevalence, so low percentage of the people that they tested that actually have antibodies, indicating if these the tests that they have used are reliable, indicates that a large proportion of the population remains susceptible to COVID-19. That means the virus has more room to move, and so it is important that these measures, that we continue to adhere to these public health measures. I think we need to wait some time to have a better understanding of how well the serologic tests that are available work. For the studies that we are working with, for the countries that we are working with on seroepidemiology, we've advised them to store their samples in -20 freezers right now until we can give a better indication of which tests are performing well, which serologic tests are performing well. But we do hope that we will have more information about the extent of infection in a number of countries across the globe, so we can really understand how far and wide this virus has spread.
怎么又晚了？
这诊所太远了，这里多开几间就好了。
政府里需要有我们的人，需求才会被听到。
哎，你这……哎，你们两个都对，可光说有什么用呢？填好2020年的人口普查，就可以协助公共资金的分配，比如地方医疗、更多的政府席位。想要给自己发声啊，赶紧上网填，打电话也行。
请上2020census.gov 完成普查。